So now the question becomes, what if there is no unique mechanism? Understanding the level of customer sophistication in your marketplace and pairing that with your messaging is going to be incredibly important when building out your website, when writing headlines and creating content. But the question is, what if there is no unique mechanism? Sometimes in the product itself, the unique mechanism is completely apparent. It's a novel product. There's something new about it. For example, we worked with a publicly traded cancer diagnostics company that has a unique and novel way of screening for cancer mutations in a way that none of their competitors are doing. So in that sense, the unique mechanism is apparent, right? But what if you're not working, if you have a product that you're selling that doesn't have that unique novelty about it, if it's a commodity product, if you're working with antibodies or ELISA kits? Well, the way to get around that, the way to make your message compelling, is to ask yourself the question, what common component of your product or service is not being talked about by your competitors? Right? It doesn't necessarily matter if everybody else is doing the same thing in terms of how the product or service works, but what if it's not being talked about? That's what matters. So the example, the classic story of how this works is legendary admin and copywriter Claude Hopkins was hired by Schlitz Beer to manage their national advertising campaign. And when he was brought to the brewery, he was taken on a tour and shown all of the different components in how the beer was made in the manufacturing process. But as a side note, they showed him the water purification process. And a light bulb went off in his head. And he said, "Tell me more about that." And they're like, "Well, why do you care about the water purification process? All other beers use purified water. There's nothing different about that." But what Claude Hopkins knew is that nobody else was talking about that. So in his advertising campaign, he positioned Schlitz Beer as pure, as purified water. And through doing that, he took their sales from the position 8 to the #1 selling beer in America for many, many years. And unfortunately for their company, they later moved away from a unique positioning to more of a kind of brand awareness model of advertising that is very popular, and today nobody drinks Schlitz Beer anymore. But the lesson to be learned there is not necessarily what is different about your company, but what is nobody else talking about.